Good evening, Jan.
You hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay, and checking the levels.
hmm
All right,
Last, the
we
audio
should be good.
was good. We were on equal.
Very good. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm
Well,
excited.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
good news. I don't know if you caught that on the
I just
general
read
text
it.
channel. Excellent.
The book is available.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
That's great news.
yeah, yeah. Available
No.
for pre-orders on Amazon, but I think if you go to the Springer link, um, then they can ship it to you right now. But
Mm.
um,
I just clicked on it. It was already available. It was just before I
oh,
came into the meeting, so I don't know whether they can already ship it here, but I will check it out.
very nice, very nice.
Good. As usual, I didn't work on the model. I didn't have a look on Maui,
Mm-hmm.
but I did something far better, I think.
Oh, okay. What is that?
Stupid, simple, but
I like simple.
that's what I like about it.
Mm-hmm.
I show you. Let me share you my screen. That one, I put it on text readability. Is it readable like this?
I believe so. Let's go ahead and open the notebook and see.
Yeah,
Right now, I'm just seeing the
but,
background.
yeah, but look in the left
Oh,
column.
okay. Yeah, so we've
You
got
you, you s-
yeah
yeah, because
several different notebooks. Yeah.
last time you said I wish there was a way
Oh,
to
okay.
import notebooks.
Yeah.
Well, that was the key to the solution. So
Okay.
I have a directory with screenshots. So, for example, this one
Uh huh.
and this one. Yeah. So this should be a query. That should be a query. And let's go directly to the end because we have one setup, two model, three facts, and then a number of queries. So let's take queries for the create task UI
Mm-hmm.
and the art. So if I click on that one, what does it do?
Oh.
It imports the facts. I
Oh my goodness.
incorporated the screenshot. What do we have? We have the query, which
Nice.
I didn't, I had to change it, but I didn't do that yet. And I have the execution of the query. So now, if I do run all, see, he's importing Jinaga. He shows me the full model. He shows me all the facts that I have
Mm-hmm.
in that I have defined in my system. Yeah, the screenshot, which was already there, query
And
with the
the
descriptive
description. Yeah.
string, and the
And the
results.
results. Wow.
Yeah. If I go to the worker query, here I left a little bit of the, so that one equal
Uh huh.
thing, it includes the facts. So I included the screenshot where I need, so in that way I see what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
and I left the whole screen to have a little bit of context. So this time I'm working on the worker here.
Yeah.
Yeah, these were the little bit documentation, but doesn't need to be there. And then here I have my query with the executions. I have my enhanced query with which gives me the name. But so for every query, I have a separate notebook with a
That is so
screen.
clean.
And if I want to change my model, well, let's start from the beginning now. So set up Jinaga.
Mm-hmm.
I updated, but so this one I don't need anymore. I can
Yeah.
just remove it. So I even don't have to run this one. I can run it. Look, I run it, but I don't need to run it
Yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah.
So if I go to the model, I import the setup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Why? So it's a chain.
Yeah.
Why do I do that? Because that allows me to just add something to the model. I don't need to go to a query to update my model. I can just change something here and see the results. Because if I say here, run all, he imports Jinaga, creates the model, and he renders all the types.
Awesome.
And here, all the types, I just put them one below another, even if some things are because, for example, the worker implies automatically the user. Well, I still define them all. In that way, I'm sure not to miss anything. And for the facts, exactly the same thing. The facts to import the model. Here I define all my facts. Yeah, I still have the thread sleep. I should change that in GUID. And then I render my facts, same thing. All my suppliers, all my users, all my usernames. Every line is a different fact type.
Yeah.
And so I can just run this autonomous. And he will give me my fact diagram.
Nice. And so, and so because this notebook renders two outputs, then when you import it, you see those two outputs.
Yep.
That's the reason we saw those two graphs. Nice.
Yeah. But here is something not working. Because he doesn't want to close, don't save. You see Murphy is back. Let me restart. You never know, that might help. And then here, oh, he's still running. He's still saying clear, stop execution. Still executing something here.
Interesting, yeah.
Why is saying stop? And this one?
Well, this might be a case where you need to use developer reload window.
Yeah, wait, let me see if I just
okay, it does say kernel restarted now.
Yeah,
well,
but it's still,
yeah, it's still
now it's, no, it's still saying go to here. Wait, if I don't save, I'm not gonna save them.
Yeah, so I wonder if each tab has its own separate kernel.
So it was the facts tab, huh? Okay, now nothing running anymore. So if I say just run here, run all, see, he runs it. Then he gets to the render facts.
Interesting that I saw that finish, but this one, it doesn't look like it even started.
And that's very strange. Did I modify something by accident? What happened? Because if I went to this one, it did work just now. So right, clear output and run all. Yeah, it gives me that one, that's fine. It gives me all my facts. Yeah. This one.
Okay, yeah. and actually, I think it's got more output because it created some new facts again. So it's the same kernel, and therefore the same Jinaga client. I saw 2 lines the last time, and this time I saw 3 at the very bottom.
At here?
Yeah. I thought there were 2 last time.
Wait, because these were the clients for supplier 1. Um, I don't
Yeah.
remember if
Okay,
we
yeah,
go
they're
to the.
all similar times, so okay. Um,
Are
yeah.
they identical? No, this is a different. This is number 99. It's number 7.
Mm-hmm.
This is number 30.
Okay.
Three of them are different. Wait. Uh, so at the moment I was thinking of adding
Yeah,
another
so
client,
three
but I
different.
didn't. Yeah. Can we make this smaller?
Oh, that would be handy. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, I click control and scroll my mouse, but it doesn't work.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay, so still not a perfect experience, but this is getting a lot closer to the annotated wireframes that I talk about
because
in the book.
yeah, the screen is here too small, but I do have no, even because the scroll bar is here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do have two clients here. I only have two clients, but one of the clients has 2 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's normal that we have three different records here.
Okay. I just misremembered then the first time I saw it. Okay.
Um, but so in this way we can
Yeah,
keep it very clean. Um,
that is excellent.
I'm
I'm going
not
to
sure.
do all
Not
of my
sure.
example models this way.
I'm just wondering why this is. Oh, it doesn't run the second one. At least,
Mm-hmm. That is strange.
yeah, because he's executing this file when he imports it.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Um,
what we can try is Control Shift P, and then the window will pop up, and then you choose Developer. Uh, let's see, it should be Restart Windows or Reload Windows.
reload
Reload
window, yeah.
window. Yeah. Yeah. So that just clears everything out. So now.
Now, if I open it, it's even detecting kernels now.
Mm-hmm.
Not interactive. Yeah, this one. Okay, so if I say now run all, that's okay. That's okay. This one is okay.
Yeah.
And this one is okay. That's the
Mm-hmm.
magic.
Yeah, that's the nuclear option. Just
So
blow
it's
it all away.
what was it? Open window?
Reload window.
Reload window.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is what I was in the practice of doing before I noticed the restart button. Say, oh, this
Mm.
can just restart the kernel. Um,
What I will do
yeah.
is add a 0. So one is set up. I will add a 0, which is just with markdown inside, with all the tips. Like
Ah,
for example, the
good idea.
restart with the reload window. So if something doesn't work, what can be the cause and how to solve it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did add a tips section on the website as well on janaka.net. Um, and so yeah, I'll add the reload window as an option if nothing else works, and then I'll also um, talk about including other notebooks because yeah, that gets us where we want to be.
Mm-hmm. Because this is the structure is so simple. There's one thing. Um, Initially, I wanted to have every query in its own subdirectory. Yeah. So I had 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a subdirectory create task. Um, that was for the screen create tasks and all the queries inside. Of course, then in the query, if you import,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be dash dash slash, because
Yeah.
the fact workbook is a directory higher.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
He
but
imports,
that still works with the relative paths.
yes, so
Okay.
he imports facts, but then the problem is he runs
Oh, really?
facts in the subdirectory.
Oh
So
my goodness.
he doesn't find model anymore,
Wow.
because model facts is referring to model in the current subdirectory.
Hmm.
So that's why I came up with this structure. So for is queries, then the name of the screen.
Got
Yeah,
it.
this is the create task screen, and it's the query about the worker.
Yep.
Create task, the query about the art. Um, so everything is nicely alphabetically ordered.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think
And you've got
I'm happy with it for the
yeah,
moment.
you've got fake subdirectories. Wow,
And it's
that seems like quite an oversight. To not do the import relative to um, the notebook file, but instead relative to the kernel.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't matter. It works nicely this way,
Yeah.
and and in that way we have files which are just little files.
Mm-hmm. And what was the secret to getting the screenshot working? We didn't get that working on stream
Um,
last time.
and I tried again. It was wait, where is it here? My markdown. Look, it's exactly that. I tried again. It didn't work, and then I tried it in a new notebook, and it did work. Now, what you do need are these square brackets,
Okay.
and then just the file name, or in this case, a relative path. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay. I think I told you to put the file name in the square brackets, and that was incorrect. That's right. Okay. Yeah. So that's
I
similar
yeah.
to a link, where the square
Mm,
brackets would be the text, and then the parentheses would be the URL. Um, and so with with the exclamation point in front of it, then now the square brackets should be the alt text.
mm,
So if you hover over it, so that way you can put a description in there if you want to.
mm.
Um, People would only see if they hover over it. Okay, that's yeah, that's what I
Um,
did wrong.
no, I tried first with a PNG file. That didn't work out. I looked up the syntax on the internet, didn't work out. Then I tried with an SVG file. That worked.
Mm-hmm.
Then I tried again with the PNG, and it worked.
Hmm.
So I think it's a little bit the notebook,
Hmm.
which is sometimes not too happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
okay.
rebuilding notebooks to get something that works exactly the way we want, that's a long road. I think,
Um,
yeah, I think documenting some of the tips for using notebooks, some of the edge cases,
mm,
coming up with this flat structure so that we can get around the relative path issue. Yeah, that that's a good direction.
mm.
I really like this. This is good. This is good.
I think we will get there.
Yeah. Yep.
Great. I saw that you did a lot of work as well.
I did. Yes. Let's.
As well is not a word. You did a lot of work and me not.
Well, that's pretty awesome. There we go. Yeah, I definitely want to use that pattern.
Mm.
That is good stuff. Okay, so yeah, first wanted to celebrate. Yay! Um, so we've got
Fantastic.
We've got pre-orders. Somewhere on here I saw um, that it would be available on June 16th. Oh, okay, there it is, June 12th. Yeah, this title will be released on June 12th. So, so we've got that there. If we go to Springer, then we've got the ebook and the soft cover, both available. Oh, this one says pre-order June 12th. Okay, so it's it is June 12th. It's available for pre-order now.
Okay, it's
Excellent.
not yet available.
Not yet.
But
Not
okay,
yet.
a few more days.
Yep. And yeah, you can see the structure. We've got 13 chapters this time. The beginning is very similar structure. Some modifications to the content, but then here analysis and location independence. I swapped those around because I wanted to get to those annotated wireframes, do the analysis. Yeah, that's a really important part of understanding your problem, and then we can go into all the details of how it works. Added the chapter on immutable runtimes. That's now kind of the core. Now that you've got enough structure, let's talk about the promise of this thing. Then we rearranged a few things, but then we get back here to these last couple of chapters, feeds and inversion, and these are the proofs of the new inversion algorithm and generation of feeds. These two proofs are what make this work, and that's what really gives all of this that extra value. So I am pretty happy with that. Cool. So then, in addition to this, what I have been working on, I did mention to you that in Janaga.net, under the modeling section, setting up your notebook, I did add this small section on notebook tips. So with the restart and the clear all. So this section is about to get a lot bigger. I'll talk about the includes and the reload window and all that.
Okay.
That's awesome. And so the thing that I have been working on here is with the version 0.12, I have added support for there we go, single-use principle. So what is a single-use principle? Let's open up a notebook and take a look. In fact, on a previous episode, I did show kind of the a first look at what single-use principles are going to be about.
Is that to have somebody in charge to create one-time users, and then he throws away and he comes on equal level with all the other administrators or users?
Exactly. So I just have to remember what notebook this is in. So I think yeah, I don't want to drag this over to the other window too quickly because I might flash something that I don't want to. But okay, well, let's start here. All right, so I have this this project here, the Commercial Marketplace SaaS Accelerator. This is how you would get something published to um, the Azure Marketplace. So let me start with the goal in mind. This is the goal of offering a replicator as a service in the Azure Marketplace. So if I go to portal.azure.com and I log in as me, then I can come up here and I see a couple of test replicators. Let's go to the you know what? I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to test replicator 1. So this is one that I subscribed and then I unsubscribed. So if I follow that link, that'll take me to the page inside of the Azure Marketplace. This is there it is. There's the page inside of the Marketplace. This is currently in preview, but I'm working to get this available to the public. So we've got a little description about what you get for a Janaga replicator. So this is targeted toward mobile application developers, primarily at this stage, Maui application developers. But then as I get more examples out there, then I'll show how you can use a Janaga replicator with a PWA using React and using React Native and Blazor and all those good things. So offline storage for mobile apps and PWAs.
Mm-hmm.
So high level ideas there. You can authenticate with Google, or you can authenticate with Apple. And then the plans and pricing. So the idea here is that I want to offer development and testing. So this is going to be for a small number of users, just up to 10 users. I might adjust that. Up to 1,000 facts per day. So this is really just for testing. You're not going to be able to do very much with that.
What do you call a user in that case?
Yeah, a user would be an end user that authenticates with Google or with Apple.
Okay.
So if you are if you're developing an application and you want to deploy it to test flight, then you've got a limited number of users that can download your application and install it on their phone. For test flight, it's something like 150, but here that number is much smaller. But yeah, based on demand, I might increase that number. And then a free trial for 1 month. And then once you are ready to go live, then you subscribe to the app developer plan, and that gives you up to 10,000 users, 1 million facts per day. So that should be enough for a medium-sized application that's that's doing okay in the store, not not a huge amount. But if you go over those limits, then there is
There is the add-on.
yeah, there. The add-on is for something else, but there are per million facts and per 1,000 users additional charges. So right now everything is set to 0 so that I can test, but yeah, I've got got the numbers worked out so that you can have a consistent and when you first launch, you'll know how much you're paying per month. But then as you as you gain more users, you will understand the the rate at which your cost will increase. So so price your app accordingly. And yeah, I've got it worked out so that these add-ons are a pretty small number compared to the monthly subscription. So so the, the math makes sense. Yep, I don't yet have those final numbers ready to announce, but and then the backend add-on. So whereas the app developer subscription, that gives you a replicator that you can use social login, Apple or Google, to authenticate users. With the backend add-on, you use a shared secret instead. So this is for you to deploy an Azure function, and then configure that function to connect to this replicator using using that secret. And so that doesn't give you any users, no users authenticate with this one, but you get 1 million facts per day. And so the idea with this is lower cost than the app developer plan, and it supports a mobile application that needs to then connect to some third party through some API. So you'll do all of your API work inside of your Azure function, connect it to this backend, and then this backend will connect to the app developer replicator at the front end. So you'll get that system working. And then we've got the enterprise subscription. So this plan gives you up to 10 replicators, 10 million users, 100 million facts per day per replicator. So so this will allow you to create a bunch of replicators, connect them together, and configure them with social, Active Directory, or shared secret. So internal users, external users, functions, all those things you can hook those together. And if you need multiples, so you need multiple app developer replicators, you can just subscribe to this one, 2-3 times, get that set of replicators. If it gets bigger than about 6 or 7, then it makes more sense to just go to the enterprise plan, open it wide up. But that is the idea. So I'll walk through this experience here. When you subscribe, then this is me at michaelperry.net. That is a subscription that I set up that's just for testing. I don't actually have any other resources in this one. So my resource group, Janaga Test, name it Test Replicator 3, and I get a 1 month subscription. For some of them, you can choose monthly or annually. So that's what that's saying. And so review, subscribe, boom, and then hey, there's my phone number. All right. Okay, so that's getting that set up. And so all of that is the Azure portal and the Azure Marketplace. Then once this is provisioned, then you need to go to a landing page. So configure account now takes you to a landing page, which might actually not work right now. We'll see. Yeah, I think this is gonna. Yeah, it is gonna show me the page, but if I hit subscribe, it won't work. Okay, so this landing page is this is the project that that Microsoft provides, the commercial marketplace SaaS accelerator. So I forked this from their repo here, and I created a little branch right here called the Janaga landing page, and this way I'm able to customize it. And this is a public repo, so I'm even using this as an example of how you can get things set up. So so far this page hasn't been customized, but if we tried to hit subscribe, that's going to be the first customization. Let me go ahead and hit it, and you'll see, boom. So we've got this this error here that it just rejected some facts. Why are we rejecting facts here? So the functions of this page, I've added Janaga to the to all of the buttons and the webhooks and all those things. So anytime the marketplace tells me that somebody subscribed, or they've unsubscribed, or they've renewed, or their subscription has expired, all those events, the Azure Marketplace sends those to my landing page app as webhooks. In addition to that, actions that the user takes, like hitting the subscribe button, those I hook all of those, and I create some facts in order to record what the user's doing. And so that builds a model, and then I replicate that model over to the portal. So this portal over here, app.janaga.com, this application talks to the replicator behind this one, not one of these replicators that you're building, but the replicator this is actually using, and sends it these facts. So right now I am working on setting up the authorization. So that's why you're seeing that it rejected the Azure environment and Azure subscription. So once I get those set up, then we will be able to authorize those facts. And this application will then know whenever you subscribe to something.
Okay.
So the experience will then be not an error message, but instead you'll have a page that says, you're subscribed, here's all your subscription details, and here's a button for you to configure. And that takes you over to app.janaga.com. You log in with the same account, and you will have access to the replicators that you just purchased.
Okay, that's a very nice system.
Yeah. Once you're through that, then you should just be able to stay on this page and configure your replicators. Yeah.
And it's entirely based on Janaga itself.
Yes. Yes. And so that takes us all the way back to this single-use principle. Why did I have to get single-use principles working in order to get all of this done? Well, let me show you one other thing. If I take, you can see that right here it's got a token. So this is a token that the marketplace gives the landing page in order for the landing page to know that that's the one we're talking about. I might actually replicate that idea instead of relying on it being the same user. Not certain yet, but if I take just this part right here, boom. Okay, and I'm going to go into incognito mode, and I will hit that page. So now nobody is logged in, and I've hit the landing page, and so in just this one scenario, I added this to the landing page. And now that I've got it, I can actually take that out. But the idea is that this application has created its own service principal, its own user. And so that is now the public key of that user. So let's talk a bit about the model and understand why we've got these service principal public keys and stuff. So I'm going to make sure that I've actually got this cloned. I'm not sure that I have cloned it on this machine, but let's give it a shot. So I'm going to go to PowerShell. Okay, all right, so let's go to projects. Oh yeah, on this machine it's /projects /Janaga. Nope. So do I have commercial? No, I don't. So let's clone commercial market SaaS accelerator. And then go to the Janaga landing page. Oh. There we go. Now open up Visual Studio Code right here. And I trust these authors. Okay. Now, in here, I created a little model to remind myself what's going on here. So, I've got this authentication handler, which I did this wrong. It's not working. So we'll get back to that later. But right here, the Janaga client is connecting to, well, I was testing it on localhost, but here we want to actually connect to the replicator over here. Well, let's go through the model first. So this is the enterprise application pattern. So we are going to start Well, that's interesting. All right. Okay. I'll see if I can figure that out. But first, let's talk about the model, and then I'll see if I can get the diagrams working. But yeah, so we we have an environment with a predecessor of creator, and so what I found is any model, in order to secure things, you always end up with a user at the top level owning things. That's really the only way to kickstart your authorization and your distribution rules. So this creator right here, that's a user, but do we want that to be a logged in user? No, that would not be ideal, because then that user is special, and their relationship to that environment could never be revoked. Instead, you want the users to be successors to the environment. So we want an administrator to refer to the environment and say, this user is an administrator of the environment. So the way that we set up that top level user is by using this new method, single use. And so we create a single use principal, and then this principal is the creator of the environment. And then we create the administrator to say that this user that's logged in is now the administrator of this environment. And then what we get out here is the public key of the environment's creator. So now I'll see if I can figure out what is going on with this. I think actually I know, and so I'll have to take this off here to look at it, because I think I've got another NuGet repository in here. So I will look at that and see if we can get these diagrams working. Yeah, so I'm doing a .NET NuGet source list. Okay. Well, I'll bring this back on the screen. This is what I'm trying to do. .NET NuGet list source. It doesn't know what NuGet is. I thought that was the command. Okay, we're definitely going off on a tangent now. This used to be good content, and now it's just figuring things out. So, .NET NuGet. Yeah, so I'm trying to do .NET NuGet list source. Maybe I don't have... That doesn't make any sense. I should have .NET NuGet. Okay. Well, let's try one more thing here. So my NuGet source will be that is api.nuget.org/v3. Well, at least as of this. I thought it might be... Let's see if they've got the description up here. Yeah, let's just make sure. Install and use a NuGet package .NET CLI. .NET SDK. Yeah, I know I've got that. Okay, well, I'm going to try to set up this as a source. HTTPS API NuGet org. API nuget.org/v3/index.json. Okay. That fixed it. Yay. Now we can get back to talking about the pattern. All right. So here is where the pattern starts. We've got the environment with the creator Janaga user. So always a Janaga user at the top. And then for an administrator, the administrator is a successor to the environment, not a predecessor. And that allows us to revoke the administrator fact. And so, yeah, no connection can be made to localhost 8000. I'm not running that. Let's see if I can just come on up here to app.janaga.com and see what it's doing. So let's refresh, see our replicators, and you can see that it is using this replicator right here. app.janaga.com/Janaga. That's the Janaga endpoint it's using in order to log in. So we'll come up here and we'll use that URI instead. So run that. So now our Janaga client is using that runtime. And then here, login is going to fail because my authentication mechanism is incorrect. But let's instead say that the user is a new user with a certain public key. We'll start it off with a fake public key. But the important thing is that, that provider doesn't work at all. So let's not even use that provider. Okay. Attempted to perform a non-authorized operation. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not even able to authenticate to do this. Why was I able to do this before? That's interesting. Okay, so still working on getting this working, but the idea is that this is going to create a single-use principal in order to create the environment, and then immediately add this user as an administrator to that environment. And then when we leave this scope, that private key is gone. So we throw that away, and that single-use principal is no more.
But then, are we sure that the new users, which are all on the same level, they will not lose access, for example?
Good question. So this user here, now to complete the story, rather than that being a fake user, if I take a look at the response, then I actually get my public key here. So I would actually want that to be my real public key. Boom. And so now you want to make sure that they don't lose access. So what they would do is they would then, let's go back up here, they would then be able to create additional administrators. So the authorization rules are such that an administrator of an environment can create more administrators of that same environment. So, yeah, the very next thing would be to ask somebody to sign in, give you their public key, and then make them an administrator. So this all becomes a practice of passing public keys outside of the model. That's kind of how you establish that chain of trust. Same as an old-fashioned key signing party. Just, here's my public key. Here's your public key. Let's just sign them. And this is effectively doing that. It's creating this fact which signs that fact which contains their public key indirectly.
Then what happens if the first user, he makes a new administrator, and that new administrator loses his access for one or the other reason.
Yeah. Yeah, so you want to have that redundancy. You want to have multiple administrators, and then they can, yeah. If your administrator privileges are revoked because an administrator creates one of these facts, then you can create a new administrator fact, either for the same user or for a different user. So if we go back to the model, oh yeah, that's the model right there. Administrator uses the created time. So, so you can create a new administrator fact for the same user and environment. So as long as you're careful about those revocations and you don't just blanket revoke everybody, then there's going to be some administrator who can still get into the environment.
It's a bit funny to have everybody on the same level and not to have a real administrator.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, these are all real administrators. I haven't actually gotten to service principal yet. That's that is one level down. But yeah, so service principal looks very similar. So you've got service principal is a user and environment, and can be revoked. The difference is the authorization rules. So so an administrator is allowed to create and revoke service principals, but service principals aren't allowed to create or revoke other service principals or administrators. So you set up the environment and your first administrator. That administrator invites other administrators, and now you've got that all those administrators at the same level, and then they create service principals. And so that in order to create a service principal, you need to get the public key of the user that you want to authorize. And that is what this public key is doing for you. So it's like, as an application, I have authenticated using a shared secret with a replicator. That replicator has assigned this public key to me. So every time I authenticate using that same shared secret, I'm going to get back the same public key. So that one represents me. So now I can share that public key out as an application, and then as an administrator, I can create this service principal fact and say, okay, now that application is authorized to create facts inside of this environment. So there's a whole set of authorization rules, and this is me doing that on the test environment. But yeah, now I'm trying to get it working on the remote one. So there are a whole bunch of facts that you can create as a service principal. So one of those is subscription. So there is a subscription in this environment with this subscription GUID. So that comes from the marketplace, and so whenever I hit the subscribe button, that is the user creating that subscription with the marketplace. We get back the GUID, and then we call we create the subscription fact. The subscription can be unsubscribed. So at some point, the user can come back to the landing page, hit unsubscribe, and we will get the unsubscribe fact. But then there are some other things we can do. We can transfer a subscription to a different user. Now, these are not Janagi users. when I transfer the subscription to another user, that's to another user identity within Azure, and that's just a user ID as a string.
Mhm.
So this is not looking up that user's ID in the portal and saying, okay, that's their public key, because this is information about the user, not by the user. Um, so, uh, so this Azure Subscription User Identity, that's when you first subscribe, you're going to also create one of these subscription user identity facts to say that's the user that is allowed to use that subscription. But then it's possible within the marketplace to transfer ownership of a subscription to a different user, and then we'll create another fact to indicate that. So that's the the entity reference pattern. It's a mutable property with a predecessor. Here's another entity reference that is the subscription plan. So which plan have you subscribed to? And the plan is within an environment a plan ID. So that's a unique string that I set up when I first create the offering. But then you can also change the subscription quantity. So right here you can go in there, bump that quantity up. That way you can get more replicators. Then this final set here is that you can activate and deactivate, and that is the user themselves choosing to to turn the subscription on and off. So let's deactivate it so that I don't get charged for a few months and then I can activate it again. Suspend and reinstate, that is Marketplace making those decisions. It's like, oh, we can't, we failed to charge your credit card, so therefore we're going to suspend your account. And then, okay, you've fixed that, so now it's reinstated. And then we've got this renew webhook that comes in and says, okay, they've renewed their subscription. So for that one, we've got a period pattern going on here. So for a particular month, we've got that renewal. So the month is in that year, in that month. And that way we could then look for all the things, all the renewals that have happened in a particular month. And we can go back some number of months and see that recent history. I don't yet know that I'm going to need the period pattern in this case, but whenever there's time involved, it makes sense to do that. Yep. Okay, so that is the model that I basically derived from the API with the subscription with the Azure Marketplace. And so because of that model, let's see. Yeah, that's still on the oops. So whenever this application receives information, then it's able to create those facts and send all that information over here. And then this will respond like not allow you to hit the new replicator button unless you actually have a replicator available to you. It will allow you to see what it thinks your subscription looks like from its perspective. And then if you say, hey, that's wrong, then you can call for support. And then also the so this is all the setup portal, but then there's another application that actually runs the replicators, the multi-tenant replicator application, and so that's the one that's going to be checking this model to see is your replicator actually in good standing for me to respond to these requests. And then furthermore, it will make calls to the the Azure API gateway in order to turn on and off different URLs. So so when your replicator is deactivated or suspended, then it'll just turn it off at the API gateway. Then it's reactivated again or reinstated, turn it back on. So all of that can be automated from this model. So that's what I've been working on. And hopefully very soon we'll be able to see that actually working. But yeah.
It's always nice. People will follow this eat your own dog food principle. That's the only way to be sure that it does work.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And the replicator will still exist as an independent module also that you can run on your own server.
Oh yes, yes indeed. Yeah. So coming back to here, replicator. Yeah. So you can create one through the Janaga portal. I'll update the link to go to Azure to get there. Well, I don't know. Let's talk about that in just a second. But yeah, then you can also. Oh yeah, right here. You can create a Docker container. This Docker image at the moment does not have a way for you to specify authorization and distribution rules. It just gives you a wide open replicator. And I do want to fix that. I want this to be a production ready replicator. And then the third option, which I don't actually have a description for here. I should add a description for this. The third option would be for you to clone or for you to create a Node.js application. Add the Janaga server.
Like we did in the beginning.
Yeah.
Long ago.
Yep. And you have to set up your own Postgres database, and yeah, it's the long path, but that's still going to be available. So yeah. Yeah, not only is Docker going to be, continue to be supported, but I am going to improve it such that it's production ready. So the idea here is in order to set up a replicator, you really need three things. And it's easiest to see if we look at this menu right here. You need authentication, you need authorization rules, and you need distribution rules. If you don't set those things up, then it's just wide open. And so authentication, how would you set up authentication in a Docker container? Well, somehow you would have to set up all of these configuration settings. You would have to know your team ID, your app bundle, your key. You'll have to set all those things up with the Apple Developer Program, and then somehow get them into the replicator. And so the idea that I'm thinking of there is that the image will have where was the that this image here will have the code for authenticating with Apple, and it will look for a file or a set of files in the mounted volume. And so if you set all those things up with Apple, and then you copy those files into a volume, mount that volume into this container, then the container will be able to authenticate with Apple. And then do the same thing, another directory in there for Google, another directory for Active Directory, and various authentication mechanisms. One for shared secrets.
Mm-hmm. I thought you wanted to keep the login functionality exclusively to the yeah
Yeah,
commercial replicator.
yeah. This experience of having it walk you through it and set all that up, that yeah, that will be just part of the commercial offering. But yeah, if you're going to use a replicator in production and you don't want to uh, purchase my replicator, you're going to need to authenticate somehow.
Mm.
So yeah, have to offer something like that. Um, so so yeah, I think volumes are um, the easiest way to go there. The other option would be to to use this um, as a base image, and then copy those files in your own Docker file, and then create your own image. But then that means that your image has secrets in it, and I don't like that. Best to keep the secrets on a mounted volume. Then you can control them. So yeah, so that's one thing that I'm going to do there, and then and that will get you the authentication options. And then for authorization rules and distribution rules, um, when you set these up for the commercial offering, you've got this endpoint, and you can just use a command line tool to compile your authorization rules and send them up to this endpoint. And here it generates a secret that you can share. And so um, those those authorization rules, they get compiled into factual. So it's just a factual specification. So that's a text file that it uploads to that URL. So and same thing with distribution. In fact, you set up one, you get the other. Um, so when it comes to an image, then what you could do is back to this guy. Yeah, similar to how we had a mounted volume with directories that described authentication. We'll have a place on that volume where you can have a file that represents your authorization rules and another file that represents your distribution rules. And then this code will just load those in, and it'll run those rules. And that way you'll have your production ready security in your own Docker container.
That's great. Then all the offerings will be equivalent, but there is one that is much easier to set up. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the primary advantage. The secondary advantage is cost. I'll be able to offer this at lower cost than it would take you to run Azure Container Service. And that's because I've got a multi-tenant replicator, and I've not shared the source code for that multi-tenant replicator. So yeah, with fewer resources, I'll be able to run more replicators than you can, and then I'll be able to keep the cost down, and that's how I'll be competitive against you running it yourself.
It means that, for example, a customer will say, okay, we want to have it on Azure as a subscription, but at the same time also have a backup copy in case of.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
Yes,
You have
indeed.
a replicator at home, which replicates with the redundant replicators at Azure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So all the combinations are possible.
Yep. And then in real time, as people are using your public your replicator, it's getting backed up, and you just switch over at any time, and you can switch back because it'll go both directions.
That's what I've always been dreaming of. A system that always works, um, even if in some places there is no power, there is no internet.
Mm-hmm.
Your data is somewhere in the world where they still have power and still have internet, and so it continues to work. Um,
Ah, that's not the button I wanted to push.
yeah,
There we go. Okay.
infinity. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So that whole story is why I had to get single-use principles working.
Okay.
Yeah. But as part of single-use principles, this is this is kind of interesting as well. Um, the uh, uh, when a client created facts with the replicator, prior to this, it was only using the authenticated user, so it's only using the Vera token to sign those facts. But with the single-use principle, you don't have a bearer token that represents that single-use principle. You have the private key on this machine for a limited time. So now it's possible to sign facts and send those up to the replicator, and the replicator will run all the authorization rules using those signatures. So I said, okay, I know that you've got the private key because the signature is valid, and now I run the authorization rule, and the user with that public key is authorized, which means now replicators can connect to other replicators and run the authorization rules, and they don't have to have access to the key store or the user's bearer token. So yeah, that's always been part of the plan, but now it's actually implemented
Mm.
so that I can do single use principles.
Okay, that's good to hear that becomes reality.
Yes, indeed.
So for next week, I'm gonna go further in the queries now that I
Excellent.
have a simple setup. Um, and I think I have to finish my tax declaration by
Mm.
next week also, but
Yeah.
otherwise the government is is gonna chase me. Uh, but okay. All right,
Very good.
Michael. See you next week.
See you next week.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jan.
Bye bye.
Bye.